What up, man? Y'all know the vibes. If you woke up this morning, you already won, man. It's your boy Earl of Pearl, and this is another live episode of the Ultimate 216 Show, man. My man Cecil Shorts is behind the scenes getting his webcam together. Shout out to y'all, man. Thanks for joining me. Good morning. I want to see y'all in the chat. How y'all feel on this Sunday morning? Y'all know the vibes. Smash the like button. Let me know where you watching from, but I want to know how y'all feel on this Sunday morning. What's going on with y'all? We got a lot to talk about. More reaction from the Cleveland Browns versus the Los Angeles Rams preseason game that took place yesterday. A lot to get into about the quarterbacks, Joe Flacco, Dillon Gabriel, of course, Shedeur Sanders. We'll talk about Kevin Stefanski, how he handled this entire quarterback competition throughout training camp, how he handled the quarterbacks in yesterday's game. We'll talk about some other guys that we thought flashed, and we'll wrap it up with some final comments. Again, Cecil is behind the scenes, kind of getting this situation together. Remember, smash the like button. Let me know where you're watching from as we get ourselves started. A couple shout outs. What's up, Hector? A couple shout outs, man. The Glenville Tar Blooders. Of course, y'all know me and Cecil is Collinwood Railroaders, but they went up to Massillon and got a huge win over the Massillon Tigers. And anytime you go out, to that stadium, I think it's called Paul Brown Stadium, and you get a dub over that program, that's significant. But so shout out to the Glenville Tar Blooders. Shout out to Coach Ginn. They travel well, and they put on the show. So let's get into it. Hold on one second. Got a text from Cecil. Let's see what he's talking about. He said, let me send him the link to his phone. My apologies, y'all. All right, let's get into it, man. I see a lot of free 12s in here. I see a lot of that. So, we was on a post-game show yesterday, and I kind of talked about this. I thought Joe Flacco looked pretty sharp in his first preseason work. That was the first time he got any work, 90% completion percentage, 71 yards passing. He did throw the one touchdown, 129 QBR. Outside the one incompletion, I thought he was fluid on the opening drive. I thought he did a good job getting the field downfield and getting them in the end zone. And, he talked to Didi after the game, and he talked about how important it was for him to get that preseason work in. And to me, he sounded like a guy that I think he wanted more reps because chemistry is important. And I felt like that he was going to always be quarterback one. We'll get into that a little bit later. But just to see Joe Flacco out there running with the first team, getting his feet wet, getting that rhythm before we take the field 2 weeks from today against the Cincinnati Bengals, I thought that was cool. Let's move on to Dillon Gabriel, man. Let's not even waste no time. So Dillon went out there yesterday. You saw 63.2 passing, 129 yards passing, that one touchdown, and he had 100.5 QBR. I thought the game for Dillon Gabriel started off as much of a mixed bag. He was 3 for 8 for 43 yards, 1 for 1 on third down. And then he got that opportunity to lead the team on a 2-minute warning. And I thought he was actually phenomenal in that situation. I thought Kevin Stefanski actually put him in a lot of situations to have success. He took every single snap from the shotgun, and he led an 86-yard touchdown drive. I thought he was fluid. I thought he did have that one pass that was tipped at the line of scrimmage that could have ended up being picked off. But outside of that, I thought he made some quick decisions. You can really see where Dillon Gabriel's strengths are and where he excels at. I guess my only problem is if he was put into a regular game situation, man, what would Kevin Stefanski do to hide those weaknesses and kind of exploit those strengths so that other teams don't take advantage of those? I see Cecil waiting in the queue. Let's get my man back here on stage and get his thoughts. There he is, Cecil Shorts, the other part of the Ultimate 216 Show. Good morning, brother. How are you?
I'm good, man. I'm good. A lot of questions about yesterday. I thought there was some really good things I saw. I thought there was some interesting things from Kevin and some interesting comments made as well. But I'm excited to get into it with you today.
Yeah, so I was talking to the fans while you was getting ready, kind of going through, the performances of the quarterback. And I guess we just kind of go ahead and reverse ship and start it all over. I was on the post-game show yesterday. I want your thoughts first. You watched the game. You saw Joe Flacco, Dillon Gabriel, and Shedeur Sanders all get their opportunities to perform. Joe Flacco, of course, was named the Browns starting quarterback earlier last week. That was the first time we saw him. What was your initial thoughts of Joe when you saw him out there?
I actually like what I seen from Joe. And I think we all expected Joe to look good. 40 years old, been in the league forever, former Super Bowl MVP. He had commanded the offense, got the ball out well, threw some good passes, ran the offense well, and went down for a score, I believe, in the second drive of the game. So I liked what I seen from Joe. I don't like him getting hit. I don't like him getting sacked. I don't like him having to move. That's uncomfortable for me to see a 40-year-old. Have to do that. That has the wear and tear that he's had on his body just from naturally playing the game. But I thought he did well. I think he did what we expected him to do. The Rams didn't play their starters. They didn't play their guys, right? So if he went down there and struggled, that would be an issue. But he went down there, do what he was supposed to do, moved the ball down the field, made some good reads. So I thought Flacco had a legitimate day. Now, can he last 17 games, 18 games? We shall see.
I think it's been more than 5 seasons since Joe Flacco has played a full season in the NFL. I think it'll be a false expectation to expect him to be healthy, for the full 17 game slate, or to have a level of performance that's sustained, that long. So we'll see. I think a lot of people is projecting anywhere from 6 to 8 games. It's almost like, okay, Joe will be the guy that get us through the toughest part of the schedule. Based on what you saw, though, and we know the Browns schedule is a gauntlet, like, you feel like that he gives the Browns the best chance to win coming out the gate?
That's a good question, Earl. Um, I think he's the most pro ready right now. Obviously, I think he's probably the best quarterback as of today in the building. But I doesn't mean I want to see him week one, right? Doesn't mean I want to see him play the first 6 to 8 games. It doesn't mean that, because you're in a situation where well, put it this way: if you're trying to win right now and win as many games as you can, I can see why you kind of put Flacco in there. But are you trying to do that? You drafted 2 rookie quarterbacks to sit them on the bench. Like, you drafted 2 guys to not play them at all. Like, I just don't see that. Or is he the guy that's going to be the placeholder until one of those guys are ready, right? The first half of the season is a gauntlet. It's going to be tough. It's going to be tough. But how do you know what you're getting into with the guys if you don't play them, right? How do you know how good Dillon or Shedeur is in those situations if you don't put them in those situations? So it's going to be interesting. I think he right now, as of August 23rd, 24th, he's probably the best quarterback on the roster. But obviously the higher ceiling is Dillon or Shedeur. I don't see any reason that they shouldn't be in. One of those 2 guys should be in the mix more sooner than later.
I agree with you, but just as things are starting to settle, I don't think it's going to go that way at all. I don't. I think that no matter how much we believe that the Cleveland Browns are invested in seeing a rookie quarterbacks, I'm not sure what to believe that comes from the Cleveland Browns after how this whole thing played out. And, and I kind of wanted to wait until the entire preseason played out, just the entire training camp, just to kind of, compare and contrast what was said versus actually what happened. Let's move on to Dillon Gabriel. I thought Dillon Gabriel, as I was telling our audience, I thought Dillon Gabriel started the game as a mixed bag, right? I thought he was 3-8 for 43 yards on that first drive. He did lead a scoring drive. The Browns got a field goal on that drive, but he didn't really look, really, really comfortable. He come back out in that second drive, and it just seemed like he was poised. It just seemed like, everything was fluid, that like he was ready to go, that the rhythm was there. And I thought Kevin Stefanski did a good job of putting him in the best situations to have success. I've told you what I've seen in training camp from Dillon Gabriel, the good and the bad. And I thought Kevin did a good job of putting him in situations to exploit the good. We all know Dillon Gabriel is better operating out of the shotgun. And on that last drive, he was 9 of 11 for 86 yards passing and a touchdown. Every single throw came from the gun. And what I also noticed too is somebody can correct me if I'm wrong, but if you just look at all his snaps in totality in the first half, he took less snaps under center this week than he did last week. And last week, I kind of pointed out the fact that, when he was under center or in those play action situations, he was 1 for 6 for 18 yards and an interception. So to me, he was much better. He led 2 scoring drives. He did not turn the football over, but I did notice that Kevin Stefanski did not have that young man under center. He had him in the gun And when he was in a gun, you could tell he executes the out route, the quick out throws. He executes those really, really well. And he's able to throw from the pocket better than what I actually gave him credit for.
I like how he moves in the pocket. I like, honestly, I like what I've seen from Dillon, just being honest. I think he has a good poise to him. I think he has an understanding of what Stefanski wants when he's in the game. He gets the ball out fairly quickly. Um, he's really good in the short area, intermediate game. I'm just not sure. For me, and I have nothing bad against Dillon. I think Dillon showed out last week. I think he did what he was supposed to. I think he went out there and balled. I think he put, hey, put me on notice, put me back in the spotlight. I deserve to be talked about, and he does. Um, I'm a little nervous that I think in Stefanski's offense, he wants to get under center more than not. Like, he wants to be under center. He wants to be able to run the ball, use that for play action. He wants to be able to have multiple schemes, whether it's shotgun or under center, right? And I think for him, his height, his size, I think for him, what he's been used to doing at Oregon, getting the ball out quickly, and as far as understanding his reads, he knows where he wants to go with the ball. But when you go against a TJ Watt, when you go against a Cameron Hayward, who are huge, who know how to put their hands up, that small area of space that he has to be able to find the holes, not over the guys, because he can't see over the guys. He has to find the holes in between the defense, and I think it's going to be hard for him. It's not easy to do that. And preseason is a whole nother level than, regular season is a whole nother level than preseason. So I like what I saw from him. I like his poise. I like his accuracy. Like you mentioned, he drove down the field the second drive and was able to score points. I honestly think Joe, and just being honest, I think Joe and Dillon have had better players around them than the third quarterback we're about to talk about in a second.
So let me ask you this.
That's interesting.
So let me ask you this from a wide receiver standpoint, right? Because you, correct me if I'm wrong, you're taller than Dillon Gabriel, right?
Correct.
All right. So from a wide receiver standpoint, how does playing with a quarterback with the stature of Dillon Gabriel, how does that change how you play the game? Like, how does that change what you're doing out there? Like, are your, like, what is going, like, how is it for you from that position?
It's not, one, you can't really see the shorter guy, right? But you kind of know where you're supposed to be. So if I'm looking, and if I played with guys who were 6'2", 6'3", 6'4", it's easy to spot them and where they are when I'm running my route. I'm running the in route, I can see them. They're looking at me, boom. With the shorter guy, you're not going to always see them. And you're not going to always know where they are, right? Sometimes the ball may come out of nowhere. Sometimes the ball may pop up on you at times. But honestly, I think it depends on how fast that quarterback gets out, what the timing is with the quarterback and the receiver. If he can put the ball in the right spot at the right time, boom. But if he has to scramble, if he has to, or if you're just going against a big defensive line, or if your offensive line is just huge like most are, it's going to be hard to see him. Like, that's just what it is. So from the receiver standpoint, it's definitely a little bit different. It probably affects the quarterback more than it does the receiver, but there is a effect there as well.
So I thought Dillon was better this week in the red zone. I thought, honestly, in this particular game, he was better in the red zone than I had seen him in the previous game or in many moments during training camp when I seen him doing red zone drills. I thought he was much better, like, in those situations. But to your point, he's also operated with much, better talent around him. And when I think about what he does well and then what some of his limitations are, I kind of go back to Baker Mayfield. And I kind of go back to that first year with Kevin Stefanski. And I just remember at that time having this opinion that Kevin Stefanski did a phenomenal job of hiding Baker's limitations. It was a lot of rollouts, a lot of design rollouts, getting him on the run, getting him outside where he can really see and where he can thrive. And then I think about Dillon Gabriel, and I think about his skill set compared to Baker Mayfield's. Baker has a much better skill set, in my opinion, than Dillon Gabriel does. And so, for Kevin Stefanski, this comes a new challenge of you pretty much know where he's good at, right? He's good out the shotgun. He's good throwing those quick out routes. He can get the ball over the middle into space, and he's phenomenal on third down. But when you're going against a higher level of competition, how many times are you going to continue to be able to go to that well? Like DBs are going to start sitting on, okay, this man like to throw that out route. Or if he ain't throwing it out, you know what I'm saying? It's like a curl route or a dig route in the middle to a tight end. And so it's like, if you know this is his bread and butter and you take those things away, then what is Kevin Stefanski going to do then if he can't put Dillon Gabriel under center and then operate play action? Those are things that are going to come up. And quite frankly, like, you know, just based on how the Browns are going about things, we will really never know with him or Shedeur if that's going to be the case, man. We got to get a read in before we come back and we talk about Shedeur Sanders' performance and some of Kevin Stefanski's decisions. Cecil, how about you tell our audience about Yahoo Fantasy Football?
This episode is presented by Yahoo Fantasy. Fantasy football is back, y'all. Fire up the group chats, get your draft boards ready, and buckle up for a season filled with breakouts, busts, and all the overreactions we live for. It's all going down on Yahoo Fantasy. This year, Earl and I are playing on Yahoo Fantasy, and you should too, whether you're a first-timer, this is like your millionth league, right? I use Yahoo Fantasy for years, and I love how smooth the draft day experience is. To celebrate 28 years of fantasy greatness, Yahoo Fantasy is dropping 28 big new features over 28 days, giving you more ways to play, more ways to draft, and more ways to win. It all begins August 4th. So stay tuned and start creating or joining your Yahoo Fantasy League at yahoofantasy.com/lockedonnfl. That's yahoofantasy.com/lockedonnfl. And let's make this fantasy season the best one yet.
There it is. There it is. So, of course, we got to get to Shedeur Sanders and his performance. And, you know, what was your initial thoughts on Shedeur's performance? Let's start there.
Well, I'm gonna say it again. He's having, and I hate to put it this way, but he doesn't have the same talent around him as the other quarterbacks had, right? So I believe he was 3 of 6 yesterday. Maybe 4 times he was sacked. He was running for his life. Let's just call it what it was. It looked like he was in Colorado again, with some of the lesser talented guys in the game. And when you see his talent, you see what he played with a little bit better talent the week before. He showed out, played well, got comfortable really quick, and made some plays. I would say this. I think Shedeur needs to learn when to get rid of the ball and when to take a sack. Learn he doesn't have to go backwards all the time when it comes to scrambling. But I honestly don't think yesterday was a fair assessment. I just don't. I don't think yesterday was fair. I don't think yesterday, for me, I'm not even marking that as something. I'm marking it as an X, like incomplete. Because I need to see him, and I'll even say Dillon, but I need to see Shedeur with better talent around him. He hasn't thrown to number 1 receivers yet. He hasn't thrown to Judy in a game. He hasn't thrown to Harold Fannin in a game. He hasn't thrown to Njoku in a game. He hasn't played with those guys. He hasn't played with the starting offensive line yet.
I don't even think he's thrown to Jamari Thrash. Like even if he goes a step further, like for the last 2 weeks, Dillon Gabriel had at least Jamari Thrash to his disposal. You know what I mean? I don't think Shedeur has had that. I could be wrong, but I don't think he's had that.
Like it's almost like, I don't want to say detrimental, but it hurts him that he didn't play the week before against the Eagles. It hurts him. I know he had the oblique injury, but it hurts him because now he played the first preseason game. He was really good. Didn't play the second game, and then the last taste in everybody's mouth is what they saw yesterday. And that's just, to me, it's unfair. And I don't understand Kevin's plan with the quarterbacks. I just don't understand why. I don't understand if this is a true quarterback competition, I'm gonna give all 3 guys a chance to play with the ones. I'm gonna give or just maybe this is just the Shedeur and Gabriel. I'm gonna give those guys the chance to play with the ones and give them a fair shot at saying, how can you run my offense? Can you really play and have timing with Judy? Can you really get the ball out quick? Can you command the huddle? Can you talk to your offensive line? Can you slide your protection? There's so many things that goes into it. You don't even give them a chance to. And you put them against these guys that are probably not going to make the team. And then you expect greatness or you expect good things to happen. And it just looks terrible. And it looks terrible to me from a Kevin standpoint. Like, why are you putting him in that position? Anybody in that position.
So you know how we just spent the last 5 minutes and I kept kind of alluding to, I thought Kevin did a phenomenal job putting Dillon Gabriel in positions to have success, right? Man came out, operated from the gun. He ain't have him under center like he did last week. He had him running with some quality guys. He got the opportunity to execute a 2-minute drill. He got like he put him in a phenomenal situation to go out there and have success. And like you, I can't say the same for Shedeur Sanders. I listened to the broadcast while I was taking notes and watching that game. And I'm not going to sit up here and make excuses like, every single sack was on the offensive line. I thought the one, for example, where he lost 24 yards, I thought Shedeur clearly should have threw that ball away, should have got rid of the ball. Yeah. But I got to disagree with the Hall of Famer. Joe Thomas said he felt like that there were some situations to where Shedeur could have stepped up in the pocket to try to kind of help, offensive line alleviate that pressure. And as I'm watching the broadcast, it's kind of like, well, how, when, where was that going to be a possibility? 72, I can't think of his name off the top of my head, man, but he was getting beat like he stole something. Literally, like Shedeur was dropping back and he really didn't have an opportunity to execute anything. And then on top of that, the Browns at one point during midway in the third quarter had 2 total yards of offense. So there was no complimentary running game. There was no offensive protection. And just the people that he had around him to try to go out there and do something, it wasn't the same. In my opinion, what should have happened was he should have played behind the same offensive line that Dillon Gabriel played behind, and he should have had the same wide receivers and tight ends to his disposal that Dillon Gabriel had. I thought that would have gave you a true assessment with both of them playing in that same game. Never mind what the Rams do, right? Never mind what the Rams do, because at this point, the ones is out the game. You feel me? And to me, Shedeur is somebody that is going to be on your roster, running with the 4s and the 5s, guys that's not going to be there. That's not a true evaluation. He should have been running with guys like himself that are going to be on this roster. Again, don't worry about what the Rams is doing. All right, I seen Dillon with this set of offensive linemen. I seen Dillon with this set of wide receivers. Third quarter, Shedeur, when we get the ball, you're going to come out with the same set of offensive linemen. You're going to come out with the same set of wide receivers, and we're going to try to see what's up. That's not what happened. The offense overall, they came out stale, and they came out without no energy. And to your point about that being on Kevin, let's say hypothetically you really wanted to get a look at your 4s and 5s coming out the locker room in the third quarter. Okay, cool. Why wasn't the message that, this is preseason game number 3? What you about to put on tape, the energy level you go out there with, I'm watching, Andrew Berry watching, and everybody else is watching. Just to me, the way that they came out, that falls on the head coach, because that team was not prepared in the second half. And people might disagree or feel like people are trying to make excuses, whatever the case may be. This is my opinion, and this is how I see it. I don't understand what the plan was, right? And then we get to the 2-minute warning. Before we get to the 2-minute warning and things, what's your thought on what I just said?
I couldn't agree with you more. I couldn't agree with you more. And I'll take it a step further. Why? I got an email about cursing, so I'm not gonna curse. Why in the world is Tyler? Is it Huntley?
Snoop, yeah.
Why is he on the team? Why is he on the team? I don't want to see him get reps. Like, if you understand, you have 150 quarterbacks on your roster.
I can understand why he was there to Carolina week. Outside of that, I don't know what it was. I'm still scratching my head about the whole, 2-minute warning thing and things like that. But yeah, I don't really.
What are you doing? It's a joke right now. It's a joke. Like, at least at the very least, give Gabriel the same amount of snaps as Shedeur. Give them the same, because it was like what you were saying. Give them the same offensive line, the same playmakers. Let those guys compete fairly. And because you got a whole set, I just don't understand the mindset of Kevin right now. I don't understand what the heck is going on with this quarterback. To me, it's we got fooled.
Yeah, we did.
Flat out fooled. It's not a competition. They had this already planned in mind. Maybe Kenny messed some things up maybe a little bit. I think he was in the mix, but we got flat out fooled.
Man, listen, we're gonna get to the whole, Kevin and the quarterback competition, because I got a strong opinion on that. But before we get to that part, man, I want to close out on Shedeur. First of all, before we talk about the actual 2-minute warning, this is what Shedeur Sanders had to say about not going back in the game for the 2-minute warning. This video is courtesy of ESPN.
I mean, it wasn't my decision, so, of course that's a quarterback's dream, and that's what every quarterback, thrives for, is those moments. So, yeah, I didn't know I was out. Yeah, I didn't know. I was on the bike. I was powering up. I was powering up for that 2-minute drive because, that's just a situation every quarterback dreams for. That's many situations I've been in before, and I thought I was in. So then he told me I wasn't in, and I was like, okay.
Why would you want to see him? Why would you want to see him in that situation? Like, put him in that situation and see what he got. See what he can do. See if he has command of the offense.
This is what Kevin had to say after the game about that situation. This is Kevin Stefanski on that decision. If you listen close, I believe he says at the end he just wanted to see Huntley. Just take a listen.
Yeah, obviously we didn't play great as an offense in the second half. That's never on one person. So we can be better in a bunch of areas. I just felt like we wanted to give Snoop a last drive.
He wanted to give Snoop that last drive. For what? For what? Snoop is not going to be on this roster. Again, it goes back to what we just said, and we might as well get there now. This was never a quarterback competition. And I'm going to keep it a buck with you. I really believe that it was a quarterback competition based on what he said. See, when you come from the background of working in the courts and you around judges, what's on a record and what's said literally, that's what you go by. You can't really try to come up with your own conclusion or draw your own conclusion on what's being said, or I thought they said, or this is what they mean. No, Kevin Stefanski said this was going to be a quarterback competition. It wasn't. I think Joe Flacco was going to be the starting quarterback from jump. The reason why I feel that way is because from the beginning of training camp to now, Joe Flacco took as few as reps as Shedeur Sanders did. Probably fewer, if I'm being real. And again, if this is a competition, all right, Joe will get in there. Get your share of reps too. But the fact that Joe took so few reps, that told me that Kevin Stefanski already knew that was his starting quarterback. And then it came down to Kenny Pickett, right? And it was like, okay, Kenny is getting all these reps. People is walking around talking about Kenny is QB1. I don't think Kenny was never QB1, but I do think he was de facto QB2 from the jump. I think that's the reason why even with the hamstring, he was still allowed to participate on 7-on-7 drills when they were in those joint practices against those opposing teams. I think that was always going to be the situation. When it comes down to the rookie quarterbacks, you said it, G. Bush said it yesterday on the post-game show. This is an analytic-driven front office. So this narrative of, making us feel like we boo-boo the fool or our eyes don't work, that can't happen. Because analytically, if this was a true quarterback competition, you would have sat down with a plan, and Dillon Gabriel and Shedeur Sanders would have had literally the same amount of reps with the same unit of players.
Yep.
That's what a competition was. If it was a competition for QB1, Joe Flacco and Kenny Pickett would have had the same amount of reps with the same level of talent. That didn't happen for either quarterback that was in that building. Andrew Berry said during the broadcast yesterday when he was asked about carrying 4 quarterbacks, and I quote, not much of a decision. All 4 have done what we asked. So we sat up here for weeks talking about who's the odd man out. There was never no odd man out. It seems like to me the Browns plan on carrying 4 quarterbacks no matter what. We've done shows talking about what does Shador Sanders need to do to move up the depth chart. There was never nothing that he can do to move up the depth chart. Some people might even have conversations on what does Dillon Gabriel need to do to be QB2. Man, I bet my bottom dollar, hamstring bad and all, Kenny Pickett, your QB2, week 2 versus the Cincinnati Bengals. This was never a quarterback competition. I feel like the fans was lied to, and all Kevin had to do or whomever had to do was just be 100, be more transparent about what was going on, and make us more settled and not create this confusion and chaos like they did.
We were bamboozled. I think everything you just said was the truth. When you look back and you see the amount of reps that Joe did not get and did not receive, and then for him to be named the starter without even playing in a game or practicing any, he was in their head, he was already the starter. Like it was a done deal. It was a done deal. Looking back at it, it all makes sense now. The rookies were never in the conversation to be a starter. They were never in the conversation. It was Flacco, it was Pickett, and then they were going to pick and choose who would be number 3. And I'll be honest with you, you still got Deshaun on the roster. You got the 2 rookies. You got 5 quarterbacks that are in your building. And if you keep 4, you're the biggest joke in the NFL. What are you doing? What are you doing? You might as well trade somebody. Trade Pickett and keep the rookies, or trade Shedeur. Trade. It doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. Like, this whole situation of quarterbacks just does not make sense to me. And I'd rather you come out straight from, hey, this is what we're doing. We drafted 2 rookies. They'll be fighting for number 3 spot. Joe's going to be our guy until otherwise. Like, just tell me straight up. So we know, we can disagree with it, but we know what's going on. We know exactly how you're going to handle it. Don't go out there talking about some open competition and all this other stuff. And it just doesn't even, or why even draft 2 quarterbacks?
All right, so shout out to Shane Garrett. Shout out to Shane for watching the show. He said he doesn't owe the media anything. And Shane, to your point, okay, let's say he don't owe the media anything, right? He's not obligated to let us in on what the hell his plan is. But don't you feel like you can kind of set this up to where you're not kind of like, misleading people on what's going on? Don't you feel like Kevin, as smart as he is, that they could have came up with a better way of telling the fans or telling whoever about how they were going about things? When you use the words quarterback competition, you don't have to play in the NFL. You don't have to be a football guru to understand what the word competition means, and then use your own common sense to see that that's not what's going on. So Shane, I feel you to a degree. He don't owe us anything, but like you've been in those locker rooms as a player. If you was a player inside the Browns locker room, even from your position, would you kind of be looking like, man, like it's too much going on?
It's a distraction. It's a distraction. Because you don't owe the media anything, but it's it's your job as the head coach to tell the truth. It's your job as the head coach to lead your franchise. Your job as the head coach to let the media know. And talking to the media is a part of your job as an NFL player and an NFL head coach. So you can control your narrative and say what you want to say, but don't say competition when it's not a competition. You're lying. So now when the media holds you accountable, it can't be an issue. It shouldn't be an issue. Like that's just what it is. Don't say something and it's not true. You control the narrative. The media can ask whatever you want to ask. You can answer it how you want to answer it. And how he handled it, it was wrong, period. So he doesn't owe the media anything, but maybe he needs to stop misleading everybody and be more careful with the words that he's saying. And I'll be honest and I'll be fair. Maybe I just think different. Maybe because I'm from Cleveland. Maybe because we are fans and we grew up watching the Browns. We want our head coach to be honest. I'd rather any person be honest with me and be upfront and tell me exactly what's going on. I'll have a lot more respect for that particular person if you tell me from the jump what the heck is going on and how you're going about it. You don't got to go into details. Just say Joe's our starter. We're fighting for number 2, 3, and 4. We'll wait and see what happens when Joe is our starters right now. It's that simple. It's not hard to do. It's not about owing the media anything. It's about you doing your job well. And right now, from a quarterback standpoint, you have not done that well.
Big facts, man. The chat is going crazy. A lot of mixed opinions in here. I feel how I feel. And I just feel like a lot of things could have been put to rest if it was communicated better, if we had more clarity, on some situations. Andrew Berry also spoke on Shedeur Sanders, and he talked about 2 things that he really appreciated, and what he really liked was his mental and physical toughness. He alluded to the fact that Shedeur went through this crazy draft process, right? And we all know what took place from February until when he got drafted, even from the time that he's been drafted until now. And he alluded to how he's always blocked out the noise, stayed focused, and stayed working on the work. He talked about the physical toughness, about how, he got himself prepared to go out there and play in this game. And earlier this week, Shedeur spoke to the media, and he talked about having a lot to learn. Before we play that clip, another thing he said was that Shedeur went from playing in Colorado and in the system to where, like, the language and the terminology, it was pretty basic, so to speak. And this was Andrew's words. He said, here's the example. It's like ask somebody who speaks fluent English to learn how to speak Mandarin fluently. That's exactly what he said. And so to me, what I gathered from that was it's not a matter of if he knows the playbook or the system or not. It's not a matter if he can quote unquote play football. It sounds like to me, this is one of those, okay, he's getting the terminology down. And the reason why I said that is based off of what Shedeur said. And for everybody that kind of makes it seem like that, you know, he's not aware of what's going on, this is what he had to say in his press conference before the preseason finale against the LA Rams.
You know, I know my time, whenever that is, I'll be ready for it, and I'm going to embrace that. But in due time, you know, I got many things I need to fix, many things I need to work on, and I'm not oblivious to that. So all I look at it as I'm getting more time to cook. I'm getting more time to warm up. You know, that's all it is.
Man said he ain't oblivious to it. He know what's going on. And I just think like when people like, okay, we talk about the media. And I said this yesterday when I was on 92.3 The Fan. You know, we got to do a better job, myself included, of kind of clarifying what we mean at times when we say things, or for people who write when they put certain things out there, because we also know that being trained on this side of the coin is, it's our job sometimes to trigger emotions. But sometimes when you trigger emotions, you still got to make sure that like you putting something out there that makes sense. And I just felt like it was a lot of narratives that made it seem like he was dumb, that he didn't really know what he was doing. And I felt like that was really, really unfair. And you know how like that can make you a little uneasy, like when you hear stuff like that, right? Like that ain't cool. And so to me, it's like, okay, well, if this is about like learning terminology, that makes sense. You know, I can get with that. And that ain't no knock to him. Like that's a lot of quarterbacks. And I'll tell you another thing, for people who want to harp on, you know, these performances, I kind of feel like both of our rookie quarterbacks has played better than the number 1 overall pick during the preseason. Cam Ward ain't throw a touchdown in the preseason, bro. He had a quarterback rating of 77.7, 52.6 completion percentage. He completed 10 to 19 passes for 145 yards. He didn't turn the ball over, but he didn't put the ball in the end zone. Maybe I'm crazy. Maybe that's some hometown bias, but drop a 1 in the chat if you feel like both of the rookies for the Cleveland Browns outperformed the number 1 overall pick. Drop a 2 in the chat if you think I'm tripping. And if you just go back and you watch every throw from Cam Ward, right? A lot of what people want to kind of dissect and tear apart about Shedeur Sanders, guess who got some of those same issues? Guess who's going through some of those same roller coaster rides? The number 1 overall pick. And guess what? He didn't took every single rep with the first team from the beginning of camp to now. And it looked like to me that he ain't really that damn far ahead.
I tell you what, going back to Shedeur and Dillon, Shedeur has handled everything with such joy and grace. Like answering the questions with a smile on his face, staying calm, not getting upset or mad at different media members for asking sometimes questions to spark, like you said, emotion or spark an answer. He's handled himself in a very professional way. And I love that about him. So if things work out here where he ends up being the starter one day, I'm excited for his future.
Hey, you see what Craig said? Shout out to Craig watching the show.
Much worse than the Browns.
That's that.
Yeah,
he said you think it's bad in Cleveland. He said it's bad in Tennessee.
I agree. But yeah, I think honestly, I agree with you that Dillon and Shedeur have shown something. They both have shown like glimpses of, okay, hey, these dudes can play. Like it's a reason why they're here. You know what I mean? I just wanted more opportunity for those guys, a fair opportunity when it comes to the actual quarterback competition.
Big facts, big facts. Other guys, before we get out of here, man, other guys that stood out to you, other guys that popped, I'll give you one that definitely popped for me, man. That young man, Aiden Huntington.
Yeah.
This dude right here, man. Hey, listen, it's funny how these draft things and all these things work. This was an undrafted guy. You see what he did against the Rams. He had 5 tackles, 2 tackles for losses, sack and a half, 2 quarterback pressures, and I think he forced a fumble as well. It seemed like that cat is a high motor cat. Jim Schwartz got another one on that defensive line that he can rotate in and out. What did you think of his performance?
He stood out, man. He's making plays. He's staying active on the ball. His energy is crazy. I love what he's brought to the table this preseason. He's made plays in every game. So he rightfully deserves to be on the 53-man roster. His name popped up a lot yesterday in the broadcast. I'm so excited to see him. And again,
Kevin announced that during the post game. He said, "I'm gonna tell y'all right now, he made the team." He said, "Andrew can tell us that." So Aiden Huntington will be a part of that rotating defensive line, which is we all believe is the strongest unit on that team as well. I'm done with Dustin Hopkins though. I'm done with Dustin. I don't trust him. The makes is too much. The makes is too close to being misses. The extra points, like no excuse. You can't keep putting this team in those type of situations, right? Like those things right there. And he got guaranteed money on the books. And honestly, if I was Andrew Berry, I wouldn't even really care about the guaranteed money. I'll go find me another kicker.
It's no excuse. Like extra points should be 90, it should be 100% almost. Like it's 99% of the time. This should not be the case. You're gonna lose. You're gonna mess around and lose 2 or 3 games, maybe 4 games. You shouldn't lose because of stuff like this, if that makes sense. Like you can't have this. Should be automatic. Like this can't happen. This flat out can't happen. But I tell you what, I'll be honest about AB. I've been very critical about him and his draft classes. I've been very critical about him and saying he hasn't drafted very well. He might have hit on this draft class. He might have hit on this draft class. I'm loving what I'm seeing from the rookies. I feel like when you look at undrafted free agents, you talk about Aiden. That's a part of this draft class. Even though he wasn't drafted, they brought him in, and he has shown out. Mason Graham has looked really good. Carson has looked really good.
He said Carson looked like a fire pro. He said yesterday Carson looked like a fire pro already.
Carson is everywhere. Like literally. Like that might have been the steal of the draft. To get him in the early second round, like I don't want to get ahead of myself. He looks really good. He looks really, really good.
No, he do. He
does.
Like 49 look like one of those cats that's going to be on this team for a long time. He looked like one of those cats that I think this fan base, knowing how we are going to fall in love with him, man. And he honestly might be one of those cats that take this all the way to the Hall of Fame if he stay healthy. Like he's very intelligent. He has a very high motor, and like the dude makes plays. He gets up, goes back to the huddle, and gets ready for the next snap. He ain't making too much noise except for when he popping you.
I don't want to compare, but he's Luke Kuechly-ish. You know what I mean? Like he just the intelligence, this the whole nine. I'm like, ooh, he just looks.
Hey, that's a high bar right there. That's a high bar.
I don't want to put that pressure on him. But even Dylan Sampson, Harold Fannin, like these guys are popping up and making.
Yeah, Harold Fannin gonna be a dog.
Like it's. I mean, they put Harold Fannin out wide yesterday, 1-on-1 with the corner, and he beats him on the skinny post, and then catches the ball within traffic and like. AB might have hit. He might have hit this draft class. I'm hoping, but he might have hit this draft.
Gage was another one, bro. You think Gage gonna make this team from the wide receiver position?
I think Gage got a shot, brother. I honestly do. I think Gage got a shot. He was out there with the ones yesterday. Like he got a shot, man. Like it's interesting to see how certain rooms are going to be put together. But Gage got a real shot. I like what I seen from him yesterday.
Yo, so to me, I think. My biggest takeaway from all of this, I think Amani Marshall is going to find a way to make this team. I think he's going to beat out like a Pierre Strong or somebody that we used to seeing on this team. I felt like he ran hard all camp. I felt like that was another one of those guys from this draft class, another undrafted guy that we got here, and it was solid. I got to give Andrew Berry credit because early, it does look like that this particular class, short term and long term can make a lot of noise for this football team. And I'm excited to see that. We did get one super chat. It says, keeping up with the Sanders family. Good job, guys. Man, thank you. We appreciate everybody who tuned in. Whether you agree or disagree with our opinions, it's cool, man. We just here giving our thoughts, sharing what we feel and things like that. We appreciate y'all for tuning in on this Sunday morning. Remember, man, be great, spread love. being great come with a price. Spread love is priceless. You got any final thoughts, bro?
No, sir. I'm ready for the season to start, big dog. I'm excited to see what the Browns can do. I'm excited to see the rookies. I'm excited just that it's football season, man. It's a blessing to be here, so I'm pumped.
Big facts, man. Much love, man. And we'll catch y'all soon. Oh, by the way, Ultimate 216 show next Wednesday. Then I'm on vacation, man, until the start of the football season. Time to kind of like unwind, fill my personal cup back up, and get ready to get back to it. We'll see y'all soon. Peace.